The converted man here, and I've got Prometheus, the prophet alien god thingamajigger that he is. I don't know what he
How's it going, deconverted man?
is. How's it going?
How's it
So,
going, everyone?
as you know, as most things go, I've been talking some tweets lately, but now I have a decent microphone, so people might actually care, and I've got somebody to talk to, so that might be interesting. So we found, or you found this, or somebody, I don't know, put this on
Yeah,
Twitter, this article that we're going to talk about here from out.com. Subscribe to Out Magazine. So it's a magazine that's online. Okay. It's like, at what point do you
yeah,
rebrand yourself and say, we're not really a magazine anymore. We're
yeah,
just online.
yeah. I'm thinking.
But
I'm thinking with the name of the magazine, it's kind of supposed to be like a pro gay.
yeah, out. Oh, I get it. Because out is I'm out of the closet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't. I didn't think about that. Because, I mean, I don't know. Is that still? I guess it is that people still feel like they can't be who they want, who they are. Or I guess it's.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's still a thing. I don't know. It feels like it's less so than when it's way back. I remember in the '80s
Oh yeah.
where it was like, because I remember we like just starting to hear about that stuff, and it was like, what? And then like in the '90s, it was really like a big turmoil.
Oh yeah. Then came Will and Grace. That show
I don't know
and
about that, but I think that where I was California is where I was born and raised most of my life, and I kind of had this little religious bubble, and also the your own little universe bubble of where you live and what's around you. So
yeah. Well, what part of California?
uh, it was north, about an hour north of San Francisco. So I mean,
Oh, okay.
had it been in San Francisco, I think I would have been on the front line of this sort of thing. But I was in Walnut Creek, Pleasant Hill areas, and Concord area, stuff like that. So it very much middle class ish sort of surrounding. Uh, I'd say very low, very much Caucasian. You didn't. So there wasn't a lot of like it wasn't like exposed, I suppose would be the word, to a lot of different people and ideas until I was a teenager and in youth group. Then I started seeing more about the world, and then as I got older, of course, I actually saw more places. So, but I think that's part of growing up because but everybody has different sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
the
sure.
I remember that the homosexual thing was like it was the gay was like a racist or not racist, a slang derogatory term for a long time, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna call them homosexuals, and then there was like lesbian, and then I don't know when LGBT that thing became the brand name. Like I don't know the history of that or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Um,
would say I want to say around the 2000s, but I might be completely wrong on that.
Yeah, and I also see. I thought, and I could be wrong on this because, like I said, my exposure, at the time was so low that I remember going to see oh, what's the cult film transsexual transvestite from Transylvania? Oh, with the big lips. Oh, what's it called? Oh
Uh,
man, it's like
I don't know.
it's
I
such a
probably would know it if someone gave
yeah,
me a hint.
but my friend took me to go see it, and we only stayed for a little bit.
Oh,
But
the Rocky Horror Picture
yeah, that's
Show.
it, Rocky Horror, and everyone,
Yeah, okay, I
yeah.
got it.
So and then I thought, well, transsexual or whatever, or tranny or whatever, like nobody knew what that was, or I didn't know what I felt. I didn't know. I just was like, okay, it's like a guy that wants to dress like a woman or whatever. Like I don't know, whatever. Okay, and it was
Uh,
again, it was for me. I just was so like I didn't know anything at the time. And then, as I got older, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, that's, does it mean that? Does it mean this? And then as an adult, it was just like, what am I, and then, I've stumbled my way around the now. See, I don't know if the T always stood for transsexual or not. Like, maybe it did stand for transvestite at first. I don't know. But,
well, I think, T does stand for transsexual.
Yeah. Well, it does now, but I don't know if it had a different origin or whatever.
I don't know. What I want to know is when they changed it from transsexual to transgender.
Yeah, I don't know that either, but all of these things are kind of like labels and, what you're going to brand your movement as and all that. And that, who knows who comes up with these things, or, how they got the rainbow flag and all that. I mean, there's a history to all of that I am, not aware of. And of course, I had my whole forte with the whole gender labeling, which I still don't know if I can't make any sense of it with logic. So it's something that I've just decided it's beyond my scope. I'll leave it to other people to figure out, because I can't use the system that I use for everything else on it. So I'll just leave it alone as a talking point, and I just want everybody to have, equal access and equal rights and all that. And as far as what the labels are or what they will be or how we're going to deal with that, that's left to somebody that's not me, because I can't make, it's beyond my
I mean, I'm more of a libertarian when it comes to like the issue of trans people. It's like, okay, you want, like, if someone says you want me to call you a woman? All right, fine, no problem.
That's where I am now. It's like, whatever. It's something I can't make logic. If I can't make an argument, I can't make a logical argument one way or the other. So it's like best to leave it alone. Yeah. But regardless of all of that, which is where this is coming from, is like, okay, we want to support all of this. We want to support lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, or whatever. And that's a lot of people to support all at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that it's the kind of Ben Shapiro argument that's really just caused the very beginning of this chaos.
Oh, for the T part, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
But definitely for the T part. But now when it comes to like, there's actually more things that's now going wrong with the LGBT. I mean, first of all, you now have like the bisexuals now at war with the gays, like with the L and the G part over like when they say like if a person's like, if a bisexual person is in a gay relationship and they don't identify as gay, now the L and the G people are like, why do you not want to identify as gay?
See, that's the thing. It's like, you gotta, at some point, you've got to take the group and step back and say, look, that's your label, but that's not who you are. And I think that that's kind of the identity politics thing.
And here's another funny thing. I mean, when it comes to the L and the G, you're now implying that there's two genders.
Yeah, well, see, that's why I'm like, what? I already had that conversation. I already burned in fire for it. I don't know what to say about it anymore. But no matter what I say, I'm wrong. But who is more wrong than me, no matter what he says or does? This is absurd. I'm safe talking about Trump, because he's always wrong, no matter what. And the reason why I prefaced this with all of that was because, I mean, I don't think I need to say it, but I'll say it anyways. I'm all, supportive lesbian, gay, bisexual. I don't care who you want or are with or love, as long as it's consenting and legal, whatever. It doesn't. That's not any of my business. And I do think that because it is a group and politicians love to, use that, and news medias like to use that they are going to use it. They are going to use it to get attention. But this is a from a magazine whose sole purpose is to be for one of these groups. So this is different than your normal, you know, like if this was from New York Times or something, I think we'd be a little bit more angry at it, or a little bit more. There'd be more people talking about it. But this is something. It's like, okay, whatever, you know, who cares, kind of thing. Like, you know, because they're just talking to their own group already, and who, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but it's still a problem in many senses of the term, of the way, and hopefully, you know, these two straight, I'm assuming straight, I don't know, it's not going to assume me, I'm straight, don't know about Theophobe, or I mean, Prometheus, I don't know why, I'm thinking of Theophobe. I don't know, man, I don't know, I don't want to know, but at any rate, try to make sense of this article. So this article here, uh, so the headline is that Trump's plan to decriminalize homosexuality is an old racist tactic. Wow. So here's why we shouldn't be fearing the Trump administration. And this is by Matthew Rodriguez, February 19th. Okay. And of course, the link to the article is in the description. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, the Trumps trying, you know, their group or whatever, that there's a global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality in all these other nations where anti-gay laws are still on the book. Now, as a note, there are anti-gay laws on the books in America, and
I actually commented on that when I first.
Yeah.
When I first tweeted the story out, I actually commented on that, saying like, you know, they should probably. I'm guessing Trump's going to start with some of the states that still have anti-gay legislation on the books.
There are many weird, wacky laws on the books that just don't make sense. And like, you'll look up like funny laws and or whatever. Like, there's a law in Florida you can't carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket. Like, you know, why? Why is that there? I don't know. At some point, it was a thing, you know. And so a lot of these laws we could get rid of, and there's no reason to have them. But you know, there are anti-sodomy laws. There are laws that say there's laws that say you can only have missionary style sex in some states. Like, that's a state law. No anything but missionary position.
Okay,
so
and I'm going to take two major guesses. I'm going to take two major guesses as to some of the states. I'm going to say Mississippi and Alabama.
Yeah, but yeah, mostly it's South. But you'd be surprised at stuff like this. And now I could be wrong, but last I knew, when I was in the military, although that was quite some time ago, when I was 18, you know, last week, that they had under the UCMJ, they had, you were not allowed to sodomize. So you know, don't put anything in the rear end, basically. So even though that's, how in the world would you ever enforce that? It's a good, or no, I don't know, but it's there. And so obviously it being there doesn't make sense now that homosexuality is open in the military. We're not going to assume that they're, you know, doing that, but at the same time, yeah, you know, I mean, that's something that they might be doing, but if nobody reports it, then the rule never has to be enforced. But then the question is, why even have the rule then? So it becomes something that's unneeded, unnecessary, and is bad or potentially bad. It's outdated, and so it needs to go away. So
and that's kind of why I like the this kind of libertarian streak that's coming out in the conservative movement. They're like saying, you know what, live and let live. You know, what you do in your own personal life is none of our business. And that's one of the things that I like about libertarianism, and I like how it's getting into the conservative movement, especially with the youth.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you know, I mean, there's many things that people do in their, you know, whatever you do behind closed doors, that's your business. With, you know, there's some situations where obviously there's a line that we say no, except for this and this or whatever. But, you know,
I mean, at least two consenting adults.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, leave it there. Then of course there's the matter of, you know, how much the U.S. really can influence anyone else other than the U.S. Who knows? I don't know. You know, because there's only so much you can do with diplomacy or whatever. But there's some influence, there's some pull that we have with our allies or whatever.
But that I also like there was later a tweet that came up in my thread, or not my thread, my timeline, that was actually talking about Venezuela and how all the anti-gay shit they do. And I'm guessing Iran is also going to have some anti-gay shit.
Yeah, I think that anybody under Sharia law is pretty anti-gay.
Oh yeah, so
could be wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's possible the neocons in the Trump administration might use the pursuit for going after the criminalization of homosexuality worldwide as a necessary means of intervention. I actually think that's kind of a smart
if
play.
we see it as a human rights violation, like you're not allowing this person to be with who they want, and that's a human rights violation. Therefore, we're using that as a justification to go to war with you or something like that.
Yeah. Or to justify regime change.
I mean, I really don't know why you need a justification, because you could just say we're going to war with you, and that's that, But
I agree.
Whatever,
I agree.
I mean, maybe because of the UN and things, the United States.
It's not just the UN. It's not just the UN. It's trying to get the American people on board for a war. I mean, that's gotten significantly more difficult since the whole Iraq and Libya debacle.
Yeah, well, we're still doing stuff over there, and it's like, okay, really,
Yeah, but now we're having to invent easily debunkable excuses.
Yeah, like we're still doing. Look, it's for the oil. Okay, we all know that. Come on.
Well, I mean, it's not just for
I know,
oil.
But I mean, that's a lot. It's like, well,
believe me, that's a part of it. But what it's really about is just it's about the U.S. dollar. I mean, we back 74% of the world's dictators, and in turn, they back the U.S. dollar as the tradable currency. If we stop interventions, then we risk losing that advantage, and we might lose out to China or Russia in getting the world's reserve currency.
I mean, we might anyways, and I'd prefer that there's peace than war, but there's just some ideologies that don't permit that. And
Islam and certain.
Yeah, I was going to say
definitely
Islam,
Marxism.
Maybe Marxism and what's the other one? The other side of that, communism or whatever,
Well, I think Marxism and communism are almost one and the same now.
Yeah. So there's some advocacy group, GLAAD. I love these. I don't know what that stands for, but they've kept a record of all the bad things that the Trump administration has done for the LGBTQ plus issues. Okay, I think that's a bad move to make from as far as the adding letters and then adding the plus to it, because like I said, you're already using this label LGBT that covers a lot of people already. And when you add on to adding the plus, well, you're just covering everybody at this point.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, but it's like I was implying earlier. I mean, there's the L and the G are basically the same. Yeah, they're basically the same.
Yeah,
it's just the gender.
Yeah,
they're both of the homosexual group.
Right. Yeah. Well, so what's Q?
And then by questioning. But I mean, I think that's like what the hell?
What do you even need that?
I don't even know why do you need to put that in there.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you need the plus and all that?
Because here's what I think it should be reformed to the HT. The HT movement, which is the homosexual and transgender movement.
When
it comes to like bisexuality, I mean, first of all, I mean, if you succeed in fighting for gay rights,
you've succeeded in that, right?
You already have straight rights, then there's really no need for the B in that movement.
And I don't know. Again, these are labels that
I know. It's just labels to make everyone feel like they're a part of a team.
Right. And there's dangers to that, and then there's power with that. But the thing that I'm trying to make the case for here is that when you add the complexity of plus, Q, L, blah, 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 and and
Oh
just
yeah.
looks like gibberish, and then people stop
Oh
taking
yeah. It's like trying to
it
name.
seriously. You know,
It's like trying to name the million genders or whatever.
yeah.
It becomes nuts.
Yeah, you can't. It's like, look, I understand where you're coming from, that you want to like be an advocate for all these groups, but you've got to narrow your focus down. That's the whole reason that the homosexuality movement succeeded in the first place, was that they really were focused on them. They weren't, they weren't this collective group. And even still, I don't know how collective of a group LGBT is, or who it represents, or who's leading it. It's unclear.
Oh yeah, but now I want to finish like going back to the other point I made, like the LGBT community. I think that's starting to fray. I think there's starting to be like certain situations where it's now putting all the different elements of the group against each other. Like when it came to like bisexuals, first of all, if a person identifies as bisexual but is in a gay relationship but doesn't identify as gay, now it's kind of pissing off the gay community, as in like, wait, you're in a gay relationship, why are you not identifying as gay? And then you have an issue with like transgender. Like if there's a gay relationship, and then suddenly one of the people in the gay relationship decides he's been a woman for he's thought he was a woman for he transitions to be a woman, is what I'm going to say.
Right.
And suddenly now this guy says, I have to break up with you because I'm not he's not attracted to women. So now is that transphobic that he just broke up with his gay lover because he transitioned to being a woman? I mean, you see how this kind of shit comes out, and now it's
the problem of identifying with the group rather than as an individual and saying, yes, this is my label, but I'm not going to let that label define me. I'm going to,
that's why I kind of believe that you should just stick to HT, the homosexual transgender movement.
All right, we're way off topic of this article, but oh well, that's okay.
All right, let's get back to topic.
The homophobic violence in Iran is really bad. Okay, and the article says that. But see, the problem is it's been illegal in Iran since 1979, and the thing is that I guess what the article is saying, that if we have anti-gay laws, then we get rid of those. Then what is it saying? Help me to understand, because I'm reading it again and I'm just like, okay, so Trump is using the 49 deaths as a way to galvanize support for an anti-Muslim agenda rather than find a way to support the LGBTQ people and pushing for immigration restrictions and a Muslim ban. So, okay, how do you help the LGBT people without, like, does it matter how you get them help? Or, like, I don't get this. Like, you're using this as a motive or a reason why you're invading this, supposedly. So,
yeah.
Are we?
They're using it. They're using it as a form to justify regime change in nations they don't like, because apparently these nations have something in common. They treat gays like shit, which is absolutely true. But then it kind of raises the question of, why are we allies with Saudi Arabia?
But it's not. It's not. So the article appears to be, and you can tell me if you disagree, is saying that he's going, that the motive is wrong. That he's going there to get the Muslims, not going there to help the LGBT people. Like, so it doesn't matter what he's saying. The motive is wrong.
Well, I mean, from what I can know of the Trump administration, they have backed people that do want to be able to discriminate against gay people from either being in their businesses, or even like he's even sided with Christian bakers. So, and to be honest, one of the reasons I kind of want to go to get Iran out of power is because of their treatment of the LGBT community. But I also want to get rid of Saudi Arabia for the same purpose.
It seems like this is about that there's not enough advocacy groups being invited to the table, and things like this. But what is missing in this entire article is anything to argue for the headline at
Yeah,
all.
I mean,
Like
I gotta.
how is this a racist tactic? And the only thing I could extrapolate from it, and many of the commenters have said, are because he's going after the Muslims. Muslims a race, quote unquote, even though it's not.
Well, let's remember,
And
it's not just the Muslims. It's gonna be he's gonna be going after Venezuela as well.
yeah, but because that's in there, that trying to get the anti-gay laws getting rid of is really about being anti-Muslim, because Muslims are cool with Sharia law, and so if you're not cool with Sharia law, then you're racist because you're
Yeah,
not, or and now that's not in the article. I'll make that clear. But I think that reading the comments on the article that people have put out there, it seems that's what people have extracted from the subtext of this article.
Oh yeah. So, well, I think to simplify it even more, I think the majority of the countries that we want to intervene in, because of this manufactured reason, are majority brown. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, but it would. That's not the reason that we're doing it. It's like, look, it's because they want to hurt us. Like,
oh, I know,
like,
but I'm just playing. I'm just trying
I
to
know,
think like
I
them for
know.
a second.
Yeah, so I think that the article, it's just an opinion thing, obviously, whatever. But the thing is, like, well, is it clickbait? Obviously, it's clickbait. Obviously, because it's like, okay, I click on that, and his plan is nothing. It's not an old racist tactic. It's not even a race. I mean, even if you could make the argument that it was a racist tactic, you then have to make the argument that it's an old racist tactic, like this has been done before, and nowhere in the
Yeah, like
article is that
when have we
like
ever fought against
like
fought to protect gay people
oh yeah,
before
like
recently?
or like now if it was the other way around, like if he was saying, well, we're going to help the LGBT by going in and ensuring Sharia law, then you could say, okay, this doesn't make sense. But you still, the headline wouldn't be that, because there's no argument made for that.
Yeah, and
So
do you watch Tim Pool?
no.
Okay, well, he did. He's this kind of independent journalist, but he did a video where it's now Muslims in England are protesting because of the LGBT curriculum that they want to teach kids. I mean, it's not like they're teaching them how to be gay. They're just teaching them that gays exist and all this bullshit.
Oh yeah,
And
that's kind of
and now hardcore Muslims are protesting this
because
in England, and it's like, and I'm looking at this like, okay, this seems like a win-win. If you want to get the Muslims out of Europe, yeah, just make
yeah, I mean,
teaching LGBT stuff mandatory.
right now. Many people in the comments have said this is an example of what they're calling Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah,
so that's a
I would
new
actually
term
think
to
that's
me.
accurate.
What is that? What does that mean? What is
Well,
that?
Trump derangement syndrome. It's kind of like it's people that just don't like Trump, no matter what. That they're willing to believe any conspiracy theory that they think would be true, and it hurts Trump.
Yeah,
but
like
the thing is,
Trump can do no right.
It's gotten so nuts that even things as simple as fighting for liberal rights, or like fighting for free speech, fighting for, like in this case, yeah, if they declare they're fighting for LGBT rights, I mean, more power to them. I think it's a ruse, but if they actually do restore LGBT rights in places that they didn't have them,
but then doing
that
anti-Muslim, so that's racist, I guess. Like,
yeah,
but Muslims
that's
not a race, but that's okay. It doesn't matter that Muslims is a race.
The thing is, Muslims are majority of Muslims are pretty much anti-gay. It's nuts.
Even if they were a race, if they were, I mean, it's like, so if like let's say there was a bunch of orange people, because I mean Trump is orange, so let's just pretend.
Yeah, it's
so like all the orange people are.
We found the city of Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, all the darn orange people hate the gays. So we're gonna do something about that. Well, that's racist. Well, but we want to help the gays. Yeah, that's good, but you can't be racist as you do it. So there's no winning, right?
Yeah,
like
you're either going to be anti-racist, or you're racist for helping the gays, or you're homophobic for not helping the gays.
Yeah, so you lose either way, and so this could be a like Trump can do no right sort of scenario. I don't know. I honestly don't, but I do know that this is, to me, when I read this article, I was just like, really, what? Because I think that it's also possible a lot of people just read the title and then posted about the title, like they didn't actually read it.
Well, yeah, usually the headline.
Usually the headline is part of the story somewhere, but in this case, it's not.
Yeah, but usually the headline's meant to frame the story in the best possible light. And this headline is absolute garbage.
It is the essence of what fake news or clickbaiting or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, look, I don't know why the Trump administration is doing what the motive is, but if in the end we can make any dent in less Sharia law. Because that's really the problem with the Muslim thing. It's not Muslims per se, but it's the desire for Sharia law. Because if you go back in time, not that long ago, it was, I want to say 70s or maybe 60s, you look at pictures of people in Iran, and they look, the women are wearing clothes. Everyone, this is a new development because of religion. The religion twisted, something happened, and I don't know what, but something happened, and people decided that the Sharia law was the answer to their problems, and then it became intertwined with the religion somehow on some level, and and the Sharia law is just bad for West, not just the West. It's bad for gays. It's bad for any other religious group. It's bad for atheists too.
It's bad for freedom.
It's bad for everything, because you can't be, if you're a non-Muslim under Sharia law, you have to pay a tax or you die. Okay. Well, that's that's not fair. It's not. And they might kill you anyways, because and if you became Muslim, you're never allowed to not be a Muslim after that, or you die. That's the punishment for leaving the religion is death. And so under Sharia law, you would die. And so, well, that's not fair either, because you have to have the ability to say, this isn't for me. I thought, I was interested, but, I thought it was, but I decided it wasn't for whatever reason. Maybe you thought it wasn't true. Maybe it wasn't, whatever. But when you have a thing that says, no, you're not allowed to leave, it's like basically it's a cult. And when you have the law on your side to enforce that, that's denying religious freedom. And it's not a matter of, well, but our religion says that this is how you have to do it. Well, maybe, but the Jewish people stopped stoning people a long, long time ago, and yet their religion still encodes those laws. So why don't they use those laws anymore? Well, they found a way to say we don't need to do those laws anymore.
Yeah, they basically went through a Reformation period, kind of like how Christianity did.
Yeah, and that's what.
But Islam never did that.
Well, or a large majority of them, for whatever reason, have been led to believe that the Sharia law is important or good.
There was like back in the early days of Islam, there was a type of Socratic Islam, but that's now gone. It's the more radical branch.
Right. So and I think it will hopefully come from within. They need somebody like they need a Luther. They need somebody to
they need like their own Martin Luther.
Yeah, right. They need somebody to come in and put the nail of the list of bad things on the church, mosque, or whatever. Or but it might come from outside. I don't know. Uh, but however it happens, it needs to happen, and that's not about race. It will help the LGBT, but as a side effect, it's like,
Yeah.
and when whatever the motive of a person is, like at some level, I do care about that, but it's like what matters is what they'll accomplish almost more than what their motive is. Like,
But also domestically, it could depoliticize the gay issue. I mean, I know there's still laws on the books in states that don't have like their
yeah, like I said,
gays not allowed. But I think the gay rights activists in these states can now use this Trump declaration to go after the anti-gay laws in their states. I mean,
yeah,
I think
exactly. Like if this is now, I don't know because the article didn't say that he was doing anything about the United States. I wonder if that's part of this plan, or if it's,
well, no, I think they're just doing it for other countries. But what I'm saying is gay rights activists can just fight in lower courts.
Yeah, it absolutely should, because there's no reason for these sodomized laws, because that can affect straight people too. You know, people put it. Yeah, I've seen. You know, there's this thing called porn online. I've seen it. I know that people do this. So, so basically, if they're in the wrong state, they're breaking the law.
Oh, you know, if an amateur couple films themselves, like
technically they've broken the law, but if
two 21-year-old girls or just
whatever.
like practicing filming themselves shoving things in each other's asses, yeah, that's technically a sodomy law.
Right. You're broken. You're not in a missionary position. You've broken all sorts of laws, you know, or whatever. And it's silly. These laws don't need to exist anymore. And it's not a matter of but this, like they were like this guy to switch the topic a little bit. This thing I watched. The guy was talking about how in the city near Greenwich still has like their time is slightly off from everybody else's time, because it's in their law like how they base their time, and it just hasn't changed to update with the time. So the guy's just like, can we get this fixed? Like everyone ignores the law, but the fact is it's still on the books. So but if the people are ignoring the law and the government's also ignoring the law, then why is it still on the books? Because nobody has bothered to take it off the books. So this is kind of one of those, you know, and then as far as that goes, I think there's a thing called oh man, I forget what it's called, like antiquated law system or something, where laws automatically die out over time, and so you have to refresh what laws are in place. Maybe a system like that might be better, because then that would get rid of laws that aren't being used anymore. Q stands for queer. Okay, I don't. How is that different?
No. Then what's I thought it was questioning. I mean,
queer, isn't that the same as homosexual? I mean, I don't get it.
I can definitely say that that's.
Trump is using LGBT in the same way he uses veterans. I don't.
And you know what? I do think that like Trump. I mean, Trump. The Trump administration has definitely been hostile to the transgender.
Oh yeah,
community. Yeah, I mean with the transgender military ban. I mean, so yeah, I definitely think like that's going to be like the next big fight.
Yeah, and that's kind of again with the military, where the military is kind of its own world. Because I was there, I know how weird it is. And the thing is there's a saying: right way, wrong way, Navy way, and it's very true, because this one guy we heard about, he wrote a check to himself for $500,000 and cashed it. And he didn't have the money, obviously, but the bank, for whatever reason, gave him the money. And he went goodbye, poofed away from the military, went UA and deserter status. And when he came back, they had him in brig for a couple of days, and then they just put him out as whatever the worst thing is. I can't remember the term now, but where they just kick you out the worst possible
Dishonorable discharge.
Yeah, dishonorable discharge with the RE5 code or something. It's just you can't and so but
yeah, you
now,
basically can't get a job, and it's like,
well, yeah, I mean it's going to make it harder to get a job for sure, but he didn't go to like he stole $500,000. He didn't go to jail for that. He got away with that because he was in the military, essentially. Like when they said, "Well, where's the money?" It's like it's spent. Now, who knows if he did or didn't spend it? But regardless, technically, he got away with, what if you did that in the civilian world, you'd be behind bars for, 10, 20 years or whatever. And so the only reason he did is because he was in the military when he did it, and they did the justice that they felt was appropriate for him, and that kind of circumnavigates certain things. If you do things on a military post, you're on federal land. You have to go to a different court. You have to have a different judge. There's a whole different system there. So if you run the red light on a military base and you're visiting, you've done a federal offense by running a red light. So because you're on federal land. So but you also then go to a very small court that's very different than a civilian court because it just is. It operates differently than the rest of the world. And I just leave it to them. You guys decide what you're going to do with transgender stuff, because I remember the homosexuality thing being a big question while I was in on whether or not that should be, because Bill Clinton had just made Don't Ask, Don't Tell go away. And there was a lot of fear with that, a lot of questions, a lot of things.
I thought that was Obama that ended that.
No, it was Bill Clinton.
Oh, what am I thinking of?
I don't know. But at any rate, in the end,
I know Bill Clinton put DOMA into action. The Defense of Marriage Act.
Oh, I don't know. But at any rate, in the end, it turned out fine. But just as I was leaving, I was seeing those changes. And the military is very slow to make those changes. They don't like to make changes. They're very traditional and stuff. So, but they're their own world. But still, the president is in charge and gets to say what they do or don't do.
Yeah, he is the commander in chief. So he is the top executive of the military.
Okay, sorry. Let's see. Regime change is never the option. Who is the U.S. to enforce our policy into another country? It's all old tactics, nothing to do with racism. It's called Sufi Islam. What's Sufi Islam?
I don't know. I think
was it Obama? I thought it was Bill Clinton.
It was Obama.
Was it?
Yeah, because Bill Clinton actually he
initiated Don't Ask, Don't Tell while I was in then.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. The other way around. Well,
okay, so I was right.
Yeah, you were right, and my memory is foggy. But yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, it might be just he's using this to justify regime change or whatever. And like I said, I don't know that you have to justify anything. Yeah, as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah, you really don't.
I am kind of tired of groups, whether it's LGBT or anyone else for that matter, being used as a political thing. But it's always been that way, unfortunately.
I mean, the only reason they even bother to try and make the justification is because they need the public support.
So let me give you. Theophobe really wanted to talk about it. I didn't know if he did. I was like, well, maybe we can talk about it some other thing. Okay, so I guess he wants to come in here and talk. I mean, yeah, I guess that's fine. I'll put the thing.
Yeah, who is this?
Theophobe.
Okay.
It hurts his brain. Yeah. So he has his. He'll be in here in a bit. I put the link for the thing in your Twitter there, Theophobe. But I don't know. with articles like this, I think that my point is like, okay, if you have an argument to make, and this always goes back to logic for me, is make the dang logical argument. You didn't do that in this article. So whatever point you were trying to make, you didn't make it. And from the comments, you can tell that everybody disagreed with whatever the heck you were trying to say. So why do that? Why not make the valid and sound argument? You know, it's just whatever it is.
I mean, they probably did something like that when it came to religion, like the defense of Christians, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Waiting for Theophobe to see his thing. I don't want to put it in chat. Link in Twitter. Alright. But yeah, I don't know. I see things on Twitter that annoy me.
Mm-hmm.
People on the internet that aren't me are wrong. Let's see.
All right, so Theophobe.
If only we could harness energy from complaining. That's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's you remember that the movie The Hebrew Hammer?
No, I don't.
Oh god, that's a hilarious movie. It's like it makes the biggest. It's like a movie that just mocks all the stereotypes of Jews. And like he's like a spy, and as he's trying to get through the access. One of the access requirements is he has to like complain like so much that he identifies as Jewish. You can find it online.
What's going on, guys?
There he is.
Hey, nice to meet you, Theophobe.
You guys have talked before. It's just been a long time.
I don't remember, but I'm kind of semi-retired from my channel. But how's it going, guys?
That's fine.
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Just complaining.
I'm doing very well. So I just wanted to kind of like go over some of the stuff that you guys talked about. I just want to mention first and forehand, if you listen to Tim Pool, that dude's a shill and he's a scam artist. That guy has miscued so many scientific studies in light of his basically fake centrism in support of Republicans. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm in full agreement with you. I just do it so I can just keep myself and broad horizons.
Yeah, I listen to like Sargon of Akkad all the time, but Tim Pool's a sham. That guy literally has no credibility of journalism whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree on that. I mean, his latest video on Bernie Sanders, like he was always talking in his videos prior to that he was like, oh, I was a big fan of Bernie Sanders and this. But then when Bernie Sanders is finally running again, he makes a video saying, oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be supporting Bernie Sanders this time because of this, and this. And I'm like, okay, then why were you even talking about being like pro-left and pro-Ocasio-Cortez beforehand? But every single video he's made is mocked her.
Well, you got to understand something. So I'll give you an example. So about 8 months ago, I actually did a video on Tim Pool in where he did a video titled, The Left Are the Biggest Users of Fake News. He pulled out a study that was done from some independent, non-biased source. And if you read the study itself, it clearly states it's the right wing that are in fake news. I have a tweet on it, this whole thing. Yet Tim Pool himself states the study says it's the left. When if you clearly read the entire study, it says that the right wing consume more fake news than the left. That guy is just a scam artist, man.
Okay, so consume, but who produces? Or is that harder to figure out?
I don't know. I'm just quoting what he said in the study. He basically, it doesn't matter what the study says.
You gotta if you're gonna cite a study, you gotta cite one that supports your side at the very least.
Exactly, but he didn't. He
basically that reminds me of many Christians who I've dealt with who will cite something and haven't read it. It's like the thing that they cite actually refutes their points. Like, did you read this? Like, no.
The other thing I wanted to mention is in relation to regime change.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but no form of regime change should ever be advocated for. Regime change is the final option the U.S. should ever do in regards to policy. I agree that things need to change in Iran in regards to LGBT and all that good stuff, but you got to understand, the war hawks in Washington, D.C. don't give a shit about LGBT. They're just token.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I don't think that the thing that they care about ultimately is
oil.
Is well, yeah, but I mean power. You know, power needs power. And so, you know, that's what I was kind of saying is that it's token baiting, you know, or race baiting or whatever. And politicians do this all the time. Doesn't make it right. You know, it's like Trump's nothing new when it comes to that. I mean, everyone else has done it. You know, it's not like it's anything new as far as that goes. I don't understand how that. Like I said, the headline doesn't make any sense to me in relation.
It does, because if you understand it from the basis of a left-wing veteran like myself, Trump and Republicans have been using veterans as tokens for almost decades now. Yet they have the worst record when it comes. And Democrats are not better anyway. Better, don't get me wrong, but Republicans have an abhorrent record in relation to voting for veterans' benefits and rights. John McCain, this pro-war hero, I will still respect him as a veteran, had one of the most absurd records in relation to increasing benefits for veterans. And even with non-benefit issues, they have a very worse record in reference to that. That's exactly what the Trump administration is doing. And I was just going to mention this. The reason why this is factual, all you have to do is look at Trump's base. I don't care what your political views are. You may like Trump and you may hate Trump. But if you are, this is one of the reasons why I find being an atheist in conflict with being a conservative, or what you call a person that doesn't choose one side. There's only one side in politics at all that denies climate science. There's only one side that literally and openly boosts religious dogma as regards to policy. And anytime, if you could ever support a person in that position that pushes position, well, go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. I popped my back. Sorry, I didn't mean to sorry.
I just don't.
I popped my back, and unfortunately, I was like, it came out. Sorry.
No, I thought you were like
bad timing. I'm sorry.
No, but
I agree. No, I mean, I don't know, but
centrism is centrism. The concept of centrism is a delusion. There is no such thing as centrism. If you believe in science, you believe in fact and truth, there is only one side that is politically aligned for the most part to truth, and that is the left. There are so many different ways I can argue with this with factual evidence in regards to that claim.
Well, I think that broadly speaking, you might have a point there, but like my answer to you on Twitter was in regards to like, well, would you vote this way or that way? It's like, it's a muddy question, because it's like, well, do you vote? You know, like, look, the guy or gal or whoever is going to go out of power in a relatively short amount of time. So it's like, what thing is the most important thing? Is it this? Is it that? You know, it's like, well, theoretically, it should be the environment, but nobody actually seems to care about that. Like, even when they say they care about it, it's like, yeah, but do you like the argument's been made against what's his face, Al Gore, like, well, he's taking all these planes to these meetings. It's like he could just show up in a Skype.
Yeah, but everyone who makes that argument is using a logical fallacy. That automatic claim is a logical fallacy.
Yeah, but he could make the
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Do it the other way. That's true.
It's called affirming the consequent.
I know what it is. I'm saying that it's true that he could show up in a different way, but that's not how people do things.
I know.
And so, it misses. It's like it's going after the wrong hinge of the points. Like, yes, he's using airplanes to get there. But it's like it's kind of a 2Q as well. It's like, well,
you have to understand something. Even if Al Gore is using climate change to boost his own wealth, it still doesn't negate the fact.
Oh, no. I was saying that people have argued that he shouldn't.
Oh, I know they do. Ben
he
Shapiro.
shouldn't go this or that place in person because when he does that, he's flying on a plane, and so therefore he should only appear like using computer, internet, whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but he could do that, and maybe to be consistent, he should. But like nobody, like people don't. They want the speaker there. There's something about having a person there that makes it like more real or something. I don't know. It's human behavior.
It still goes back. It still goes back into my one of my last videos I did about 2-3 months ago in relation to Jordan Peterson. There's been more evidence to even add into the boot that he is a climate change denier, especially on the several people he's endorsed.
I still haven't seen that. I mean, you gotta show me the flaming gun.
Oh, we'll go over that. We'll go over that.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. But my point, I want you to show me how this article supported the headline, because I didn't see that, and you're saying it's there, but only if. But I'm not looking at. If I don't look at the article and I know all this other stuff, then that headline makes sense. That might be true.
I'm going to be factual. I don't have the article in front of me, so I'll pull it up one more time on my browser. So the title is called "Trump's Plan to Decriminalize Homosexuals is an Old Racist Tactic," and here's why. Back in the day, the Republican Party used to use the Africans as a token back in the 1910s and 20s. This is before the entire thing with the whole change with the civil rights movement. Okay, this occurred all the time. Democrats did it as well, but Republicans were supposedly the party of Lincoln that basically used it to liberate the slaves. Now, it's true that they did, but again, the same standpoint. It's been a trope for 100 years now that Republicans claim that they're not racist, based on the principles that Abraham Lincoln, who was also Republican, freed the slaves. That alone is another logical fallacy. So, again, this is why it's an old racist trope.
But that argument isn't in the article.
It isn't in the article, but that's
my only point.
And if they did not relate that into the article, which I've read, then you're right. But that's exactly what it is. It is the old tactic that Republicans have been using for decades.
Well, I mean, you may very well be correct. I really don't know, because I look at it at what it's giving me, and that seems to be, if you read the comments, everybody's reacting. They're perhaps reacting to the headline rather than the article itself, because I think that we got the nuance of the article in this discussion out there. I unless you have points against anything that we said about the article itself.
Well, see here, I guess here's my point. See, this is something I've been noticing has been going on quite a bit, especially among the anti-SGWs on YouTube. A big thing that has been going on is literally people taking out of context. And I'm not saying you are, but
I hope
you're
not.
Right. Well, no, you're right that this article is somewhat not clickbaity, but misleading. Yet it still doesn't invalidate the actual message it's trying to put out. And there are a lot of individuals on YouTube and across social media that are literally placating that because this one title is either incorrectly put together or it's been placated a certain way, that all the information that this article puts out is completely and factually wrong. And that, unfortunately, has been going on quite a bit.
That's not a proper use of logic, which is all I care about. You know, it's like, look, you want to make a point. Whatever your point is, you've got to use the argument that's the best possible argument. And that's what I don't see happening.
Well,
and you're right in that to take something like this and be like, oh, my God, I can't believe this without reading it is wrong, which is why I wanted to discuss it. I thought, okay, look, this is kind of crazy and kind of silly, but there are points to be made within the article itself. Yeah, it doesn't support the headline. Okay, there's other support for it. I think those are good points to make. We're making a better article than the person themselves did.
Absolutely.
You know, and if I was talking to them, I'd take them to task and say, look, You need to make a better argument. That's my only point. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably with you, but I can't be with you if you're not making a good argument. So who's at fault for that? Well, the guy that wrote it, I guess. But why did he write it in this way? Is it perhaps so that's I don't know.
is it possible he did it for the reaction for it? Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe he had the idea, like I just mentioned, on the old trope that's been used by Republicans for the last 100 years. Maybe he had that in his mind, and see some. I don't know the entire process of journalism. Okay, I've never been to school for that, but I can imagine that during the thought process of this journalist, that during his brainstorming, he came up with the title, and his original premise was to write how this is a similar trope, like I mentioned. But he decided to make this entire different narrative, and maybe he just didn't pay attention.
Yeah, we don't know unless we ask him, and even then, who knows?
Exactly. So why?
All
maybe
I know, all I can do is look at it for what it is, and that's it. But okay, so you had said something that I kind of want to start, and now we're not even talking about. Well, you know what? I named this appropriately. I called it Talk About Politics. So that's what this is. You said that regime change it should be the last. Well, first you said never, and then you modified that to be the last.
It should never be done. And here's why I say it should never be done. When we go into a country, and this has been historically proven by fact, I welcome anyone to research this in relation to Vietnam, in relation to Iraq, what have you. Every time the United States has ever tried to initiate a regime change, it has always burnt us in the face. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. Look at what happened when we had the Soviets, the communists as our enemies.
Well, there was... sorry, but I was thinking that when Saddam Hussein was in power, this stuff wasn't going on. But he was a bastard, but he was, quote, our bastard. No,
but see, the reason why here's the thing about Saddam Hussein. Okay, the Iraq War it's going to be one of the biggest controversies for decades, and for one important fact, and this is something this is a lot of people tend to forget. People in our generation, Saddam Hussein was a madman, but the biggest question that people tend to forget is why didn't George W. Bush Sr. topple him if he was that bad of a man? He literally committed an international war crime, and Bush Sr. would have been well within his rights, not in my opinion, but based on the policies the U.S. is based upon, to topple Saddam Hussein in relation to that. But why didn't he? It comes down again to very simple principles: economics and money.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, and I believe I alluded to that when I was talking about how the world's reserve currency is the dollar, and the dictators that we back the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, there was a thing or a couple things that I'd read that we helped put Saddam in power in the first place or whatever. I don't know how much of that is true because it sounds.
I kind of think that's true. I mean, I have to check myself.
But it's because it sounds a little bit conspiracy theory to me. But it's like,
let me say this, Dan, and I'm going to just be very, very blunt here. Okay, this is reasons why I'm on the left. Okay, when it comes to my politics, and there's three major reasons. And it's very simply explained, and it comes down to me being a veteran. One, I was lied to for my service to my country. That's one of the number one reasons why I can never ever support Republicans. Number two, I know which party supports religious dogma in regards to the policy that they're trying to enact in regards to their platform. I know what party that is. That's number two. That's strike number two. Number three, and this is the most important factor, there is only one group ever to literally have political lobbying groups that are adamantly trying to negate scientific fact. Those are my three major reasons. If the Republican Party ever flipped on those positions, I would be open to discussion on even voting for a Republican. That's the honest truth.
I think that's reasonable. I got a friend who said that he voted for Trump because he was worried about the Second Amendment. And I'm like, dude,
that is one of the biggest fucking lies.
Like the Second Amendment is not going to go away.
I admit,
no president anywhere is ever going to make it. But
yeah, if they weren't going to even attempt, if they weren't even going to,
he was serious. He's a gay guy, and he said that the reason that he voted the way that he did was because of the gun issue, and I was like,
first of all,
like whatever. I mean, but I'm not here to make this argument. I'm just saying that people that there are people that there's a single issue, and that's the issue that they vote on. Whether that's coherent or not is another matter.
Well, let me put it like this, Dan. And this is the biggest thing. You see, to me, it comes down to policy. That's my biggest thing about it. I don't care about emotions. I don't care. Well, emotions are important.
Right. The data is king. What are they doing?
Yeah. I'm a very big centrist when it comes to my social issues. Okay. I'm very centrist. But when it comes to policies, I'm on the left. But here's the important factors in relation to mention. If that's one issue the guy's focused on, I can respect that. But then you also have to look at the other policy. Which party is more inclined to basically try to negate your rights? Which party is more inclined to literally fight against who you are based on genetics and scientific fact? That, to me, that's the biggest mystery at all. I just don't understand. I can't fathom. It's like having two buckets of oil on fire. One has a little bit less fire. One has a lot more. One's going to surely burn your house down. One surely is going to burn your house down a lot slower. Which one would you try to pour out? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, it's like they're both bad. One's a little less bad.
Well, you got to remember, man. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I consider myself a social Democrat.
I'm not really. I don't even know. What I don't think I have a label as far as that goes.
There's a label for me. I'm a progressive wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as because you asked me a very the question on Twitter, I thought it would be a great I think it should be a whole nother show that we set up and do. Maybe all three of us. It'd be interesting. Would you vote for or would you support the party even though they deny this or that science? And it's like
it's a very important question.
It is, and it's a complicated question because it's like, well,
but Dan, there is no there's no nuance.
But it is because
how can you deny? Okay, look, 97%. Let me put this in emphasis. 97% of the world scientists, not even the United States, just the world scientists, are stating within 12 years we are going to a brink and where there is no going back that will adverse affect humanity. How is there any nuance with that?
I don't
nuance.
There isn't, but that's one issue. That's what I'm saying.
That's a huge issue. Yeah. And it touches everything. It touches religion. It touches Islam. It touches the subject of gun control.
Right, but I'm saying that there are other things that broadly speaking, that you worry about.
I'm going to give you an example of why this is the biggest issue that everyone should be talking about. I'm not a bigot, but I am completely against Islam. I think Islam is an evil ideology.
Oh yeah.
Here.
But let me put it here bluntly. What do you think is going to happen when climate change happens to the Middle East? I was in the Middle East for 9 months. It is hot as shit in Iraq. What do you think is going to, and it got to 120. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which it gets hot as shit here.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of Iraq, it got to 127 degrees when I was over there in 2003. What do you think is going to happen when the global temperature goes up another 10 degrees over the next 60 years? Where do you think all those people are going to go? They're going to go outside of the Middle East. So guess what happens? All the people who are hating on Islam, their number one priority is to make sure that those people who are Muslim should stay in the Middle East. But guess what? They don't give a shit because all they care about is the now. If you are, my point is
that
this.
that was
that's
what
going to make the migration crisis worse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but none of the right wingers give a shit about this. They want to pretend, they want to boost other individuals that state that climate change is a hoax, like Jordan Peterson. I know you disagree with that.
I don't think
Jordan
I don't think
climate change.
I do not like Jordan Peterson.
I don't see that he's denied climate change.
He's a climate denier, man.
I've shown
he didn't say that. He never said that.
He openly endorsed an individual that literally works to a UK-backed lobby group that is literally whole point is to defend the fossil.
How did he endorse him? What do you mean by that?
He posted almost 3 different tweets about the conversation this guy was putting out. It's like, for example, imagine if Hillary Clinton made a tweet in relation to, I don't know, boosting her fucking Clinton Foundation that was supposed to be getting money from Saudi Arabia. It's exactly that.
I think that I see that there's a tentative argument to be made, but you'd have to be very careful with the framing of it for it to be valid, because just supporting somebody doesn't necessarily mean you support all the things.
I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all. Not at all, because the person is separate from the argument. The person is always separate from the argument.
So let me get this straight. Let me understand.
But remember, you're the one that said we shouldn't topple regimes, but I think you would go back to World War II. There is a regime that we did have to topple. So you were wrong about that. But no, the person is independent. You can support a person and not support everything they say. There's nuance.
Okay, so let me put it like this. Let's use your analogy here. Trump, we all know, is adamantly in support of evangelical Christians. Do we sincerely think that Trump is a Christian?
No.
Hell no.
Neither was Obama. Neither was any of the people.
So, okay, so here's my point.
Who cares?
Even if I'm factually wrong that Jordan Peterson is a climate change denier, let's say I am, for the sake of argument. I'll say I'm wrong.
I haven't seen anything that suggests otherwise.
Again, it doesn't matter. He still is adding and boosting individuals who are clearly are. That is damaging to the fact of climate science. That alone is enough to give criticism to Jordan Peterson in relation to that claim.
So
it's not guilt by association. Actions.
He has to say, I like what we talked about here, but I disagree with the whole climate thing.
Absolutely.
Why?
If you are such a representative of
there's all sorts of things that you might not be aware of it, you might not think about it. I mean, there's all sorts of things. But that's why I'm saying, like, look, you can support an individual without supporting every single thing that individual does.
Okay,
maybe he's interested in only the things that promoted. Maybe those are the only points that he's agreeing with.
Well, again, if we're talking about a specific politician like fucking Jeremy Corbyn or Hillary Clinton or anybody, like a politician or even anyone, okay? This one guy is only known for one thing. He is considered the most notorious person in the UK, if not the world, for climate science denial. There's no nuance on that.
But is that talk where he talks about that? Is that promoted?
Yes. He built this one guy that Jordan Peterson is boosting. This one guy. That's the only thing. The only thing he is known for is climate change denial. Not known for
you'd have to show me that, and you have to show me.
I did show it to you. I linked you an article to that individual where he was literally stating about climate change denial. I linked it to you. That shows me you didn't even show me the merit to read it.
I don't remember if you did or didn't. I did.
It's in my comments. I linked you an article showing you exactly who that person was and the article that guy wrote in regards to his group in the UK for climate science denial.
That's not the question I was. Did Jordan tweet out that talk, or did he tweet out about some other talk?
That article.
He tweeted that article?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to have to refresh my memory because I don't.
I'll link it to you on Twitter later, man.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I think what know what you're talking about, but I still would say that the there has to be.
If I sent you a script, if I sent you a verse or a scripture from the Bible, and I literally and I kept doing this at least 3 times. I sent you via tweet, and I even a private message by tweet for all my followers to see messages of the Bible. Isn't that some form of implication that there may be suspicion that he's a climate change denier? I'm a Christian. Sorry,
I need to see what it is you're referring to exactly. Again, I can't analyze this argument unless I'm given the argument.
so here's my point. I'll leave it like this. To me, I'm 98% sure that Jordan Peterson is a veiled climate change denier.
Well, there's
always a possibility that I'm wrong.
I mean, don't throw in false statistics on top of everything. If you have an argument to make the argument. I'll look at it. I'll analyze it for logical fallacies, as I always do. But
I love that video, by the way. I watched it.
What one?
Your one. I liked it. I still do.
Which one?
When you analyzed my video.
Oh, I've done so many things now I don't remember. But yeah. Look, the thing that I was mainly against, and I think I see your point to some extent, where if you're only known for one thing, then somebody saying, well, we had this talk, then to some extent it's like, well, are you saying that you agree with them because it's like, well, what if you only agreed with that one talk and you didn't, like, how much do you really have to, I don't know, how far do you have to go out of your way to be like, well, look, I'm against what this person says here, here, and here, but we have this talk about this other thing. Like, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this, man. Okay,
but
so let's leave that alone.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole other thing, and I'm not. My brain is already melted from this.
Well, I'll try to wrap this point up real quick. So, in relation to your tweet, I know you acknowledged that it was more just a miscommunication or just incorrect.
Oh, but Sanders.
Yeah, so
Sanders is too much of a socialist for me. Sorry.
He's not a socialist.
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
Okay.
Yeah, he's more of a social democrat. I mean, I'm a social democrat myself.
What he wants is
you're doing the exact
what
same.
What he wants is unrealistic, and if
it's not unrealistic.
It is absolutely.
Okay, he wants Medicare for all. Medicare for all is in every Western country other than the United States. It is not a pipe dream. It's in Canada. It's in the UK. It's in Australia. This isn't some pipe dream.
Yeah, Donald Trump even complimented Australia on their healthcare.
How is this a pipe dream? How is this so far fetched?
Well, there's so many
other bullshitters who think that Bernie Sanders is a socialist. See,
he is.
He's not a socialist. He doesn't advocate for a post-capitalist society. If you keep making that claim, it just makes you more fallacious.
Okay.
Makes you ridiculous, D-man.
All right. I'm still not going to vote for him.
You don't have to, but
You know.
stop labeling someone incorrect.
I'm just saying he that's what he seems to be to me, and that's how it seems to come off.
But how does he seem like a socialist?
Because of what he's advocating for. It's awfully close. It's like flirting with it.
So what is socialism, D-Man?
What is it?
What's socialism? What is the biggest advocacy of socialism? What is the biggest policy socialism stands for?
That's a good question.
I can tell you very off the top of my head because I took political studies in college. It stands for a post-capitalist society. That's what socialism's entire credo is about. It's post-capitalist, which means after capitalism. Capitalism no longer exists. There is no more private enterprise. There is no more private businesses. They are all owned by the people, and they're all done by some community-based functions. That is not.
So, because I mean, maybe I'm using the wrong term then, because of all the things I've been hearing and reading, it's like it's very difficult to keep. This is why I've never been much into politics, because it's very difficult to keep everything. Yeah, it is. I agree. The universal healthcare idea.
It's not socialism.
Is not socialism. What is it then? What's
the VA? Okay, so let me put it in another way. I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled.
So am I.
The VA health system is the United States socialist. We have by that standard.
There is a downside to the V. Well, that is a possible. But that's not the label. Then what's the label? Is there a label? Then these labels are being.
It's clearly defined by everyone. If you look on YouTube, just if you ever get the time, you want to be honest with this.
Oh yeah, I do. It's just
watch. There's a professor who's an actual socialist. And he even describes it. I don't agree with anything that this guy stands for.
He explains it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to throw the wrong label around. It's just like I said. I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's just
I still don't understand.
I think that the thing is that I think that it might be that I was a big Bernie supporter when he was running, and when he caved in and didn't. I think he should have done is because he said I was going to keep going, and yet he didn't. He caved in and let Hillary run, which didn't make any
because he had no chance. You have to understand.
No, that's not what the polls said. The polls said he would have beaten Trump.
No. Once he was cheated by the DNC, which
I know that. That's what I know that now, but we didn't know it at the time.
No chance.
Should have run, but couldn't he run as independent?
No, because he would have automatically stolen votes from Hillary Clinton. Look, you have to understand something. Hillary is a shit show. Okay?
Yeah, no, I know that.
I supported Hillary ever, and I want people to know that. I hate Hillary Clinton with passion, and it has nothing to do with me and my personal feelings.
Yeah, the universal health care thing might be main guns. It might be a pipe dream in the sense that
It's not a pipe dream.
We screw the U.S. government, I should say. Or the government in general tends to screw things up. Like, the wait times for the VA are not fun.
The VA is an amazing health. I've been using the VA for 7 years.
Yeah, but you have to wait forever.
Bullshit. That is the biggest fucking lie, D-Man.
I've waited 6 months for an appointment.
At the VA?
Yes.
And for where? What?
Yes.
Okay. And when did this happen?
Recently.
I have never had to wait. I have an appointment. I have an appointment list. I have muscle atrophy in one of my legs, and I made a phone call, and I get to see the doctor in less than a week and a half.
Right, but we'd have to get what the wait time statistics are to make a decent case.
They were bad. But you have to understand something. They were bad for reasons other than strictly because it was the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Money makes the world go round.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, if there was, there is a potential for a wait time if there was a universal system. But then again. Does
Canada have a wait time?
Huh?
Does Canada have a wait time? Does the UK?
That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not. That's the problem. Is I don't know who to believe these days. I don't know what
you don't need to believe anyone.
I need to see the data.
There is data. You go to the UK websites, you go to the Canada websites, go on to their national health services like in the UK and look at the data. There are no wait times like people are fucking saying there is. The only time you wait is if it's a optional or a procedure that's considered elective, like breast augmentation or a facelift. But if you have a heart attack or you need a fucking liver transplant,
well, you can always go to the ER. Yes.
Well, no. We're talking. There has been, dude. No. If you go to the UK, if you're in UK and Canada, you need a liver transplant. Of course, there's going to be a waiting list because it's a liver, and you have to wait for a donor.
You have to wait for a donor.
You're going to be seen within a timely manner. You're not going to wait 3 months. It does not happen in Canada.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Main Gun's been using VA for 20 years. Right. We all have our individual things that have happened to us as far as wait times or not wait times or whatever, and that is an individual thing. And of course, we need to look at the broad spectrum data and say, okay, well, how many people have actually experienced a long wait time rather than just relying on our own, appeal to minority of one experience of how it's been for me or you or whoever. We need to see the big data to sort out that sort of thing. And, that's in the end of the day, data is king. So, we should do that, and I should do that. And as always, my guys, you guys are always great for holding my feet to the fire to that. So I thank you both for doing that. Because you both do that. You both do that.
I just want to mention this. I'm looking at I just noticed it was this guy's comments, maingun07. I want to mention something real quick. The reason why wait times get longer, it comes down to a simple principle, and I can show you, again, more factual evidence on this. If you look at the times and where wait times and those projections happen, it always happens when Republicans cut the budget toward veterans benefits. I can show you factual data from Congress to back that up. So anyone who makes the claim that it has strictly to do with the healthcare system, yet negates the fact that the Republicans continuously cut the budget for benefits because they want to limit government, that's exactly the reasons why.
Well, yeah, Main Gun, again, the website, that's not what I would go to for data on wait times or whatever. You'd have to get that from a study done by, independent source or whatever. I mean, some people, it might depend on your area. It might depend on, so I want to avoid the logical fallacy of appealing to the minority of one, which is, my experience is X. Yes, it might very well be.
Anecdotal. It's purely anecdotal.
Well, but your experience is that you experience this wait time, and that's been consistent over 20 years. That's true, but that's one data point, and so we need all those to make a decent.
I'm gonna tell you from
one way or the other. Anyways, guys, Prometheus and I can't pronounce your name, Theophobe. Anything anymore. Like I said, as long as we hold all our feet to the fire, as much as we do for any other discussion for politics. I mean, this is something that I'm pretty new into politics, to be honest, as far as what titles or labels are, or whatever. And I'm just kind of going trying to put logic into it, and that I don't know if it's possible or not, but I'm gonna try.
I do want to mention this real quick. It's nothing to do with politics. Have you noticed I stopped making videos?
Yeah.
You want to know why, right? You want to know why?
Monetized by YouTube?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Has nothing. I was never monetized, but you want to know why? Sargon of Akkad's one of his fucking dipshit followers got me doxxed.
Oh.
I have evidence. I have evidence to show it, but I haven't taken any steps against him. Yeah, that's why I'm
if somebody has done something illegal, then you gotta take a.
Oh, I already have. That's already done, but I haven't made it public. I'm just telling you now exactly what happened.
you know, this is public, so.
Well, I didn't go into details. I just
okay. I was just saying. Like that. Not that. You know.
No
and
offense.
yeah.
Really watching this.
No, nobody should dox anybody for any reason. I don't. You know, it's just
tell that to the followers of people like Sargon of
look,
Akkad
it doesn't matter who they follow. I follow people, but that doesn't. That is a question that might be a different discussion too.
You have to understand that D-Man, you have to understand these people like anti-SGWs that are on YouTube, their whole shtick is about doing shit memes and trolling. That is their whole shtick.
That's an awfully broad brush.
It isn't a broad brush. Dude, Sargon made an entire whole movement called Kekistan. Basically,
that wasn't Sargon.
That was ripped from 4chan.
That's 4chan.
But it's still, he ran with it.
So what?
Yeah.
It's funny.
It isn't funny, man.
It's funny. It's hilarious.
I don't find it funny.
You gotta have some sense of humor. It's like
I do.
It's like with there's this guy I know, and I don't know you guys familiar with Satan Atheist or not, but
I've heard of him.
Huh?
I've heard of him.
I love his stuff. But he was like, oh, he's such a racist guy, and I'm glad he isn't making videos right now or whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean he's racist? He's like, well, you've seen his videos. I'm like, yeah, they're meant to be comedy. Like, the whole point is, like, everything is made fun of. Race is made fun of, religion is made fun of, everything is made fun of. Like, it's racist. No, it's funny. It's racist, but it's not like that's his view. He's a comedian. Come on, you know. But anyway, whatever.
Let me put it like this, okay?
We gotta wrap up. Go ahead, wrap up. I'm exhausted. Oh. But yeah, there's many topics that we should cover, will cover. I don't know. We need a name for this sort of thing. I'll have Main Gun on next time. We'll figure out something. I have a microphone now. I can do videos again. So I need to get back on my project that I was gonna do. Where me and Johnny Drive-By had a mock debate that we've recorded, or he's recorded his side. I have to record mine, so that should be a thing at some point. And thanks Prometheus, thanks Theophobe. They have channels, they have links. None of those are gonna go up because I'm lazy. I'll do it later. Thank you guys. Go ahead, say something, and then I'll say my thing. Last call. Right. Say something.
All right. Well, I want to make sure that I'm perfectly clear with where I stand here, because I want to make sure that just because I said I watch Tim Pool videos, I'm actually a social democrat. I'm a Bernie supporter.
So am I.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I'm actually in Phoenix myself, so that's kind of a weird, awesome coincidence.
We'll have more conversations on that.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely like to have a conversation with you in the future, man. You seem like an awesome guy. So
you guys have talked before. I've had you on.
I actually don't remember. I actually don't remember talking to him, to be honest. I'm sorry if
I know, it's fine. I don't remember anything either. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, then say something.
All I'm gonna say is this. All I'm gonna say is this. When it comes to fact over feelings. If you have a feeling about something, if you have a sensation about someone or something, research it yourself.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah. Right. See, that's the thing is, that's why it's good to have these sort of talks, is because you know, I found myself listening to certain people reading certain things, and it's like without looking, you can get very lazy and not look into it, and I don't want to do that, because
but you gotta remember,
the wrong way to go. It's the wrong, but there's a lot to learn for politics stuff, especially, I'm very, very green to the whole thing, and so, but yeah, let's let logic prevail, hopefully, and we'll do a thing on other stuff whenever. Thanks everybody for being a thing, and lobsters exist. I know that for sure. It's one thing we can all agree on. So, somebody out there.
You make some. You need to get a sound effect for your channel, like every time you log on or you sign up, make a lobster sound or something.
Lobster sound. Lobster. What does the lobster saying? Ding 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 ding.
Something, I don't know. It'd be funny. No, like some type of video where someone like it's a funny thing. I don't know.
Yeah, not like dipping a lobster into boiling water.
Look, man,
Not
why does
that- not
everyone
that
want to
sound.
hurt the lobster? I
Not
want to
that
save
sound.
the lobster. Lobster is the number one. Yeah, maybe next time we'll talk about the Green Deal and all that sort of fun stuff, and you guys can tell me all about that, because I only have heard about
Oh
it.
yeah, definitely.
I need to read that. I was like, I don't know what the hell anyone's talking about anymore. Okay. Peace out. Good night. I'm tired. Bye. And where's the button? Which button do I hit? Do I hit that button? Yeah. No.